Hey there guys, and welcome to another video. I'm Xterminator, and thank you for joining me today. And we are doing another base tour slash kind of a little bit of a tutorial and demonstration of a sense. So this does classify as a base tour, but we're not going to do as much looking around the base as we have in previous tours. This is going to be also partly a kind of example and demonstration of some things that you probably shouldn't do with bots, and some limitations that bots have and some things to avoid with them. So this map is submitted by Xanone, I believe, or Xanone, and they've asked me to kind of use it as that. So when I say that this is bad to do with bots or don't do this, that is, they asked me to present it in this way. So just to kind of clarify that. This is a completely vanilla base. I have no mods installed. To my understanding, they didn't use any mods either. Well, they used, I suppose, a few. That's not the right playthrough. I don't know why it's defaulting to that. The only one they use is even distribution. Doesn't really change like the recipes or anything like that. That's the only mod they used. And this is the map. So, holy crap, we have some really nice, well, nice depending on how you feel about it, artillery exploration and enemy base destruction. As you can see, there are enemies on this map. They are, they're not peaceful because we have been getting some attacks here. They have a massive wall around the entire base. With, just, you can see here, there's like triple lines of lasers and a double wall, which is actually really smart. Some artillery, obviously, spaced out every so often. Gigantic patches here. And you'll see our UPS and FPS is very low. And to take note, I am on a very good computer as far as Factorio is concerned. And in general, but mostly for Factorio. Now, I normally don't list my specs. The reason I list my specs is to put into perspective the strain this base has on computers. I'm currently running an i7-9700K, 1080 Ti, which is not as important for Factorio, and then 16 gigs of RAM at 3200 megahertz and 14 CAS latency. The speed and the CAS latency is really important, and then obviously the CPU is pretty good as well, liquid cooled. But the reason I mention that is just purely to show that even with those specs, we're pretty much below 30 UPS and FPS on this map. And the reason for that is because they have an insane, this is a bot base almost entirely. Or actually, it is entirely. I keep mistaking these walls for belts. I mean, there are a few belts, I suppose, but it's primarily a bot base, and this entire thing is one network, guys. And this is the first. This is the first demonstration and example of what not to do. Okay, a lot of times in my videos and tutorials, and when I talk megabases and all that, I say, don't build one huge bot network, build segregated builds with segregated bot networks. And this is a perfect example of why. Because this entire area is one bot network, and that is a large part of the reason why the performance is so bad. The other reason is simply because there are so many bots, and they kind of go hand in hand. You need so many bots to actually cover this entire area. If you, say, just separated your builds into, like, this size of bot networks, just like a ton of this size, or better yet, even like half this size, or a third of quarter of the size, maybe even just this, and had bots in there, would obviously take a lot less bots to do the work than it does going from, whatever is made here. Well, this is obviously nuclear, but as an example, that if something's made here, that has to be carried all the way over to here, that's obviously a lot more work than if it were just made all within here. So that is kind of example number one, and just to show you, I mean, this, like I said, this base is huge, it's ridiculous, it's kind of just a hodgepodge in a way. I mean, none of this is insults whatsoever. It's observant, it's just observations. I'm very impressed, honestly. This is a very large base, over 100 hours, a ton of power usage. If we click on a power pole, that's a tree. Here, it's about 35 gigawatts, which is nothing to laugh at here. And it's almost entirely nuclear, is the other reason for the very low performance. That's a lot of nuclear. And their nuclear setup is here. So we have, just all these pipes, all these heat pipes. It's like basically all these fluid boxes and stuff that just tank the performance. We have some wiring going on here. Ton of steam storage as well, which certainly doesn't help. Ton of turbines. Each one, I believe, has like a fluid box in it, so on and so forth. And this is actually a very good example of the problem I'm mentioning. So we have, now these are very good builds. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this is, Xanone knows what they're doing. It's not like they don't know what they're doing. They very much know what they're doing. They built a very impressive base. These are very good builds. Well, they're not moduled, which is not ideal. Maybe they just don't have modules, but they did beacon module it. Very good beacon builds. But the red circuits are being made here, and they're being carried all the way over to here and potentially beyond, it looks like. And then, green circuits and stuff are being carried all the way over to here. And then blue circuits are, I'm not entirely sure, blue circuits are made here. And it looks like they're actually transporting the green circuits here. Something else to take a look at. Look at this bot count, guys. There's over 200,000 logistic robots in the network. Now, granted, not all of them are being used, but well over 100,000, about 115 to 120,000 logistic robots are being used, which is insane. And that's, again, the other reason the performance is very bad. There's also a measly 175,000 construction bots that are not really being used currently. But, if we look at the production here, I mean, again, this is like no small amounts, a quarter million iron a minute is nothing small. 100,000 green circuits a minute, 9,000 plastic, over 30,000 steel, which is quite impressive, 27,000 red circuits, and such. So it's not like this is a small base. And the builds, like inside the builds, are fairly well optimized. It's a huge bot networks. But the point I'm making is if you were to make these into separated, like dedicated little builds, you see in some other megabases, or like I did in my sending supporters base, you could do the same amount of production with probably like, I don't know, maybe like a fifth of the bots, a tenth of the bots. Probably almost like a tenth to, I would say anywhere between like a sixth to a tenth of the bots. So it's using, say, 120,000 robots right now. If you made these very optimized, compact, separate builds for like a circuit build of each type, and then like smelting builds and stuff to do this amount of production, you probably would only need, and if we look at the robot speed here and stuff, you probably would only need, I don't know, maybe like probably not even 1,000 bots per build, honestly, probably even less, except for the really, really high production ones, like blue circuits where you just have a lot of green circuits moving. You would not use anywhere near this amount. Again, I'm just guesstimating on the amounts. I don't know. Maybe you'd use a tenth, maybe you'd a fifth, or a fourth, but it'd be significantly less than this, and there'd be way less charging and travel time. A lot of the power is actually the highest power consumption. About more than a third of it is the 14,000 roboports within this network, which is ridiculous. And if we look, they actually have kind of an almost like two separate sections. So this is all walled in as well. And then there's some builds kind of outside this wall, which is interesting. And again, copper, steel, iron, and all this. But look how far these things are being transported. Like, I mean, the iron is being botted over to these steel builds. At least like the engine stuff are being made here, kind of by the iron and steel and stuff. It's a little hard to see what's where because the module indication is here, but it is a bit of a hybrid of belts and bots. There are some belts moving through here, at least at least copper cables not being transported by bot. That's very good. Another nuclear build here, some more iron smelting and stuff. I'm just kind of taking a look around. I assume this is more smelting. Green circuits, more green circuits here. Ooh, some modules being made here. So in a sense, kind of grouping things, but look at all this charging. Look how backed up this is. And this is, again, very bad for performance. And then we are using belts here and then putting into passive provider chests. Again, very interesting that they're doing this rather than just putting into passive provider chests from each smelter. It is more chests and inserters, of course, so, well, it's actually not. It's actually more inserters to do this because you have these inserters outputting anyway, and then these additional inserters grabbing. And then we have, excuse me, we have some green circuits over here. This looks like just beacon and power pole production. That's a ton of beacon production. They are mining directly into chests, which is then taken to who knows where with the smelting. Oh, man. And, yeah, so, like, look at these bots. I don't even know where they're going or coming from at this point. It's very hard to track where things are going. We could turn on the debug thing to see the bot pathing. I'm honestly afraid that's going to crash the game. So maybe we'll do that last. And you'll notice, like, things are moving very slow, and that's simply because the game speed, the UPS updates per second, is so slow. So, second fan on my GPU just kicked on. But yeah, so some science here. I mean, if we look at, say, like the 1 hour graph for science, they're doing about, oh, it's not really super consistent. It's at least 1,000 science per minute. And we look at 10 hours. Yeah, it's like probably it looks like about 1,000 science per minute, except maybe space science. We have a bit of a buzz here. This looks like maybe the starting area in the middle of the base. It makes sense, and it was expanded out from here. Ton of production, ton of ammo, a lot of stuff on belts here. And then kind of a botted make everything. I fear turning on these power... oh, man, I fear turning on these power grid things. Oh, dear, it's going to be horrendous. Yeah, this is what I was looking at. Oh, no. Cover your eyes, guys. We have some low-density structure production here, not beaconed at all, so obviously need a absurd amount of it. Actually have some gun turrets here. You know, it's like I said, it's vanilla, standard recipes and all that. Some of the builds are very well built in terms of like their beacon layout and stuff. Some of them are moduled, some aren't beaconed or moduled. And some solar is used. Yet another nuclear build, and I mean, just like look at all these pipes. Again, I mean, for something this big, it's kind of unavoidable, but this is why part of the reason performance. So the huge bot network, the amount of bots, the charging issues, and the massive amount of nuclear to power this beast is basically why we're only running at less than half speed. So let's actually see, what is this? This is more smelting? Yeah, more smelting. So much smelting. I mean, over here the charging isn't bad because they've just done 2 rows of roboports between every section, which is really kind of what has to be done. These guys watching, we can watch this in slow-mo, basically. I mean, there's just so many lasers here. I don't really expect these guys to get through at all. They didn't even get a shot off, honestly. We can look at our bonuses. Yeah, plus 790% damage, 220 shooting speed. Some good artillery upgrades. 240% mining productivity. Actually, fairly low. Well, actually, it's not that low, I suppose. Yeah, it's actually not pretty expensive. 240% actually pretty good. I don't know what I was talking about. Let's look at the bot upgrades we have here. So we have 890% movement speed, which is pretty good. Currently working on this research, 2 million, quite hefty. Artillery range, gonna be the next one. Yeah, like I said, not as much of a base tour. I mean, we looked at most everything. You know, this build's scattered everywhere. You know, some ammo production here. This looks to be where the solid fuel is made. A bunch of oil production here. So many pipes. Tons and tons of solar production. Some oil. Of course, this oil is insanely good. Just because all the resources are bumped up, which is fine. A bit of a different nuclear build here, which is actually pretty cool. I really like this one. Obviously smaller, but really, really nice. A lot of steam storage. These are kind of just scattered, it looks like, around uranium mining, more nuclear. Yeah, we're back kind of the bus section here, where some blue science is being made. I'm attempting to find... let's see if we can find the labs here. Try to track a robot who has a science pack. Okay, well, here goes the green science. Follow this guy here. Hopefully we don't lose him in the nuclear. Nuclear past. Okay, he's going. Going. Here he is. Try to track him to labs. I don't know where this guy's going. Surely the labs aren't out here. And I think I lost him. Where'd he go? Oh, no. Oh, no. Where did he go? Oh, no. Shoot. I don't really know where the labs are, to be honest. It's very hard to find things. These labs. Sorry for the... Oh, there's a rocket. Robots, robot mining. Are these the labs? No, those are that nuclear build. Very unique looking. Are these labs maybe? Ah, here we go. We found them. Okay, so labs look to be... Okay, so they're delivered with chests and then put on belts. Okay. Nice. This is beaconed in modules at least, which is really good. Ton of labs. I don't know how many labs we have. How many? 540. It's pretty good. Yeah, so this is a very good example, guys, of... You know, this is actually, you know, when I do my bot tutorials, and just like I have done a bot tutorial a long time ago, I need to do a new one soon. And when I talk about it just in general, I pretty much always say, like, don't build a huge bot network with a ton of bots. Try to minimize your pipes. And this is exactly why. Because, you know, again, I don't mean this is an insult at all. You know, in fact, they asked me to basically present it in this way. They've done a very good job, honestly. Like, this is, yeah. This is a really awesome base. Pretty unique, honestly, I'd say. I'd say a lot of... most people don't build actually like this on a Megabase scale that I've seen, at least. I haven't really done many base tours or any base tours with like bases of this size that are all one network. And probably for this reason. And like, they knew that this was an issue. Again, they knew this. They did it to kind of test. One thing I forgot to show. Almost 2,000 rockets launched. But yeah, so this is why, guys, when I say don't do a huge bot network, try to limit your pipes and make sure your charging is sufficient for the bots you do have, which is going to be extremely hard or impossible to do almost in something like this. You know, this is why. Because it just tanks your performance. And like, you know, like I said, it's not like I'm on, you know, a super old computer. This pretty decent computer just still can't do it. Just can't keep up. So that's that. Let's turn on. I'm interested. Now this may crash the game, so this may in the review. Let me see if I can find the robot paths here. This doesn't entirely seem to be alphabetical, so give me a second. I'm not, because I would imagine this has to take some performance. See, rail paths. Pathfinder, entity positions, network connected entities. No. I mean, I can search, but robot, show the disk robot, show the disk robots on map. Is that what I want? Ah, here we go. Okay, yeah. So you can see it's actually not as much performance drop as I thought. A little bit. So huge clusters of bots in here, but like, look at these guys flying across here. Look at, you know, these guys are coming from here all the way over through here. Like, this is a massive travel distance, traveling across this entire section. You know, you don't really see many out here because there's just not much to be done. But like, you can, like, look at them flying across this entire section. It's ridiculous, guys. It's pretty crazy to watch. It's like a huge beehive. I mean, look at this. Holy moly. From here all the way, like, over to here. Like, no wonder. So yeah, this is actually pretty revealing. You know, this, a lot of people do play with this on. I think in my next Megabase, I will actually play with this view on. Obviously, it won't be this insane. I know it kind of clutters everything now, but when you don't have over 100,000 robots working, it won't look like quite like this crazy, but this is actually very helpful for kind of figuring out what's going on. There are a few other things, like we could do that. Doesn't really do anything. There was one I thought that actually showed like all their, like where they're going, but yeah, so this one is pretty revealing. And this is something, I don't know what this is. This is water. Oh, it's water, but it's it's so polluted, and that it's through map view. That, I mean, it's like blurry in map view, but yeah, it's so polluted, and in map view, obviously, which is a little blurry. I actually thought that this was like some weird terrain, because I can't even tell it's water, except for the fish, because it's so polluted. We could look at the pollution map. I'm a little terrified. Oh, Nelly. Holy moly, guys. Look at this. Insane. But yeah, I believe that's going to do it for this one, guys. I know a bit shorter, not a full... I mean, we covered most stuff, I'd say. Just really, really crazy bot network. And hopefully this was kind of a lesson and also just intriguing as well. I do think that just having kind of hodgepodge areas, things thrown all over the place, huge bot network, it is very interesting. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a very interesting base. Big props to Xanone for, being able to build like this, first off, and in being able to stay on the lower performance and all that. And they did do a very good job. And again, they know that this was not optimized and kind of did it this way as a test. So yeah, some battery production, I think we kind of missed there a little bit, but that's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I would love to hear your thoughts, questions, if you have them, and all that down below. As always, if you did enjoy, a like is much appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to keep up with all the new content I'm putting out. There is another base tour on the way after this one as well, like a normal full base tour, probably a week or two away. I like to space them out a little bit. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Again, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Leave your thoughts and questions below. I love reading them and answering if I can. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.